Hello, you beautiful bastards, and welcome to my so-called show. Despite Tomorrow Never Dies not getting the same acclaim as GoldenEye, the franchise still had no intention of slowing down, so slutty ladies and not so gentlemen, this is The World Is Not Enough. Released in November 1999, The World Is Not Enough sees Bond, played for the third time by Pierce Brosnan, recover money for an oil tycoon named Robert King, played by David Calder. But things go tits up when King is assassinated. Bond tries to chase down the hired gun, but sadly the sexy assassin decides to retire peacefully.
Who are you working for? I can protect you. Do you understand? I can protect you.
Not from him.
Turns out the money was to pay the ransom to retrieve King's sexy daughter Electra, played by Sophie Marceau, who was kidnapped by terrorist Renard, played by Robert Carlyle, a ruthless, cold-blooded bastard, dying from a bullet lodged in his brain, affecting his ability to feel pain. And despite Bond's injury from trying to advertise the Millennium Dome, Bond is assigned to protect Electra, but as he investigates more into Renard's whereabouts, he discovers Electra may not be who she makes herself out to be. While Tomorrow Never Dies felt like 2 steps back from GoldenEye, this felt like 1 step up from Tomorrow Never Dies. Better, but still lacking the quality of GoldenEye. But that said, I do think this film is underrated. It tries to add more layers to Bond as well as give M a personal stake in the plot, which was something quite unexpected at the time. Pierce Brosnan is reliably charming as ever, and while he lacks the same brutal edge he had in GoldenEye, he still manages to be very likeable, and not once is he phoning it in, unlike some people. He even sells the more emotional moments when he needs to. Christ, this might be the first time in the franchise where Bond falls in love with the villain. Not only was that an unexpected thing to happen, but it did add something new to the franchise. This could have been just a good idea on paper, but thanks to Sophie Marceau's charismatic performance, she makes the idea work. She sells both the innocence and the ruthlessness of this unfeeling she-devil. When she plays the victim, you want to comfort her. When she shows her true colours, you want to slap this bitch. She has no problem twisting men to her will, even manipulating her own kidnapper into falling for her, even dying for her. For some reason, I never see her up there with the likes of Goldfinger, Sanchez or Alec Trevelyan, which is a shame, because she shows to be a formidable foe for Bond. Even when Bond finally takes her down, it plays on him emotionally. She's smart, seductive, manipulative, and sadistically sexy. She could guillotine the fuck out of me if she wanted to. But it also doesn't reduce Bond to a gullible cook. After his first encounter with Renard, he realises he's been played and uses it to his advantage.
He and I had a little chat this morning. Knew all about us, knew about my shoulder, knew exactly where to hurt me.
Are you saying Renard is the man who's trying to kill me?
Drop the act. It's over.
This was also the last appearance of Desmond Llewellyn's Q, as he very sadly died in a car accident before the movie's release, and his loss was felt by many fans. He was a likeable actor who was always endearing throughout his tenure in the franchise, and his exit here does feel like a very emotional farewell.
You're not retiring anytime soon, are you?
Now pay attention, 007. I've always tried to teach you 2 things. First, never let them see you bleed.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
John Cleese also stars as Q replacement R. And while I love Cleese, I kind of feel that while he's okay, he was never given a chance to properly shine in the role, which is a shame as he's perfectly cast to be the straight-laced tech guy having to tolerate Bond's mistreatment of his gadgets. But it is understandable as Desmond has been in the franchise for 3 decades while Cleese was still new to the franchise. Judi Dench returns as M, and like I said earlier, she's given more of a personal stake, and I quite like seeing M showing some confliction to the hard decisions she's had to make in her career. And once again, Dench knows how to play the strong woman without needing to be strongest woman ever. It's a toughness that feels realistic, and she also manages to be resourceful when she needs to. We see the return of the late Robbie Coltrane as Zukovsky, and sadly he seems more of a sleazy comedic character here, unlike GoldenEye where he came across pretty grounded. but thankfully he does get a pretty badass redemption, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty sad but fitting end for the hefty mobster. And the look he gives to Bond before he dies is still one of my favourite moments in the movie. Unless I misread the situation. I was aiming for your dick. Fuck you, you fat fuck. There's some cool action as usual, as it is a Bond flick, with Bond taking on a helicopter with a rotating buzzsaw, something that was originally going to be used in GoldenEye but was later scrapped. Thankfully, the idea that was discarded was used here, and as cool as the ski chase is, they never seem to top Bond chasing down Cigar Girl on a tiny powerboat-like thing. I don't know why, but for some reason, seeing Bond in this tiny little thing should be unintentionally hilarious, but somehow it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in the franchise. I like the fact Pierce is actually doing some of this for real. Yeah, sometimes it's a stuntman or it's remote controlled for some of the more extreme stunts, but it's still cool to see, it's still cool to watch, and it is a perfect reminder on how practical effects will always be superior to CGI. And also, this makes me laugh. It's a perfect Bond moment, and even better, wasn't even in the script. Brosnan was improvising. The title frame from Garbage is actually garbage, and Denise Richards as a scientist named Christmas Jones. I'm sorry, no offense to her, but she cannot fucking act. I'm guessing she was cast because she was the hot thing then after Wild Things and Starship Troopers, but honestly, why didn't they cast Dina Meyer? She was and still is beautiful. She's talented, had a genuine charm on screen, and probably could pull off the hot scientist chick more convincingly. But sadly, we get Denise Richards' monotone delivery.
We're safe from the radiation, as long as the reactor coolant doesn't burst. If he had gotten the plutonium rod in the reactor, we could have written off the whole city.
Boy, you guys are not sucking me into the story at all.
But to her credit, she does give us wet white T-shaped movies.
Yeah.
But we also have to put up with lame Christmas puns at the end.
Always wanted to have Christmas in Turkey. I thought Christmas only comes once a year.
Also, despite Robert Carlyle acting his ass off, he does become less interesting when we learn he's not even the main villain, and just, for lack of a better word, a cook.
Are you really gonna commit suicide for her? You forget. I'm already dead. Haven't you heard? So is she. You're lying.
Gonna cry?
And I feel really bad as he's really good in the role and he's really going out of his way to add some tragedy to his character. And even though it's more layered than Tomorrow Never Dies, it still lacks the edge of GoldenEye. But despite its flaws, I think it deserves more love. It had a memorable villain that brought something different to the franchise, while not forgetting to include the familiar elements that the fans loved about these movies, showing that what we got here was a great reminder of the world not being enough for this Bond that deserves more love, and I don't know, I couldn't think of anything. It's good, it's pretty decent. Let's just end there. And that was The World Is Not Enough. Next up, Die Another Day.